Why do some communities seem to thrive financially, generation after generation? What if I told you that some of the wealthiest, most financially disciplined people in the world have been following the same money principles for thousands of years? These principles aren't trendy hacks or get-rich-quick schemes. They're rooted in structure, discipline, and family tradition, and they work. Let's talk numbers. In the US, only 4% of people report earning over $200,000 a year. Among Jewish households, that number jumps to 23%. That's nearly 1 in 4. Coincidence? Not even close. It's not magic, and it's definitely not luck. These habits are deeply woven into their culture, passed down like heirlooms. They don't hope for financial success. They're trained for it from childhood. And the training is real, practical, methodical, and based on timeless values. We're not talking about abstract ideas or vague mindsets. This is real-world strategy embedded into family life, religious values, and daily decisions. From how they teach children about money to how they view charity, business, and community, everything is intentional. And you don't have to be Jewish to apply these strategies. Anyone can use them. Here's the truth most people don't know. In Jewish culture, poverty isn't romanticized. It's not seen as a virtue or spiritual strength. According to rabbinical teachings, poverty is viewed as suffering and something to avoid with purpose. Self-reliance isn't a suggestion, it's a requirement. Even when charity is given, it's not meant to create dependency. Recipients are still expected to work, to build, and to contribute. The value lies in earning with dignity, not in waiting for handouts. This mindset alone changes everything about how wealth is built and preserved. And that mindset starts early. In many Jewish households, children learn to manage money using a 5-jar system: tithe, charity, investment, savings, and spending. This isn't just theory. It's hands-on training that turns abstract financial values into practical daily habits. If you're serious about passing on financial wisdom to your kids, or even starting fresh yourself, check the link in the description below. There's a simple tool you can use today to set up this exact system at home, and it makes a huge difference over time. Think about it. A child given $10 learns to put $1 into tithe, spiritual giving, $1 into charity, community, $2 into investment, future growth, $1 into emergency savings, and the remaining $5 into smart spending. It's a lesson in values, discipline, and delayed gratification, all before they even hit middle school. This kind of education leaves a lasting impression, and it completely reframes how they view money for the rest of their lives. In most households, kids grow up without ever learning how to handle finances. They graduate school knowing geometry, but not how to budget. Meanwhile, Jewish kids are taught how to think long-term with money and how to earn trust through generosity. That trust becomes social capital, and later, business support. Because generosity isn't just kindness, it's strategy. When you give without expecting, others remember. And when it's time to launch a business or need support, that trust returns multiplied. This kind of thinking isn't common in most communities, but it creates something priceless, a network that actually functions. In many Jewish communities, support is active, consistent, and organized. It's not every person for themselves. It's mutual growth. The investment jar, for example, isn't just symbolic. Kids are encouraged to use it, start a lemonade stand, buy and sell something, take risks. Even when they fail, parents don't interfere. The failure is the lesson. Autonomy builds confidence. You might think $2 isn't enough to invest, but that's not the point. It's about building the muscle of decision-making, risk assessment, and thinking like an owner, not just a spender. By the time they're adults, these kids aren't just financially literate, they're financially confident. And then there's the emergency savings jar. Kids are taught that life isn't predictable, and you need a cushion. Unexpected costs are normal, not catastrophic. That mindset builds resilience and reduces stress. The 5th jar is pure spending. But even that has a lesson. The child has full control over this part, but they've already tithed, given, invested, and saved. So now, when they spend, it's with awareness. They've already built a system, and that system shapes how they think forever. Financial intelligence isn't something you stumble into as an adult. It's built through small, consistent habits, ideally from a young age, but never too late to start. When kids grow up understanding how to divide, manage, and grow money, it becomes second nature. And for those of us who didn't have that early training, the opportunity to learn is still wide open. Because here's the truth. It's not about starting early. It's about starting right. Jewish families don't just teach money skills. They teach how to align your lifestyle with your values. They spend intentionally, avoid debt, and prioritize self-development. That's why, even in a world full of consumer traps, they stay grounded. Instead of showing off wealth, the focus is on preserving it. Not through hoarding, but through wisdom, giving back, investing in education, supporting family and community. Their financial model isn't just about growing money. It's about growing people. It's a long-term game, and the rewards echo through generations. There's even a phrase from the Talmud that says, "Saving money is throttling your instincts." In other words, it's not natural to be financially disciplined. You have to train it. The goal isn't to deny pleasure, but to outsmart impulsiveness. Because wealth is fragile when left to chance, but powerful when built with intent. Here's where most people fall short. They work hard, but don't work smart. They clock in extra hours, take on more shifts, grind non-stop, and still feel stuck. More hours don't always mean more wealth. Sometimes the key isn't to work harder, but to upgrade your system. Let's say you're running a small shop. You can open earlier, stay later, push harder, but unless your structure grows, your income won't either. Jewish financial thinking emphasizes scale, leverage, and community support, not just hustle. It's about creating a bigger vessel, not just pouring in more effort. And how do you create that bigger vessel? You study those who've already built theirs. The Talmud says, if you want to be rich, learn from those who are. Not copy them, learn from them. Their values, their structure, their process. Mentorship is a huge part of this. Whether it's direct mentorship or passive learning through books, conversations, or observation, it's essential. Wealth doesn't just flow from knowledge. It flows from exposure to smart decisions and people who've made them. Surround yourself with builders, and you'll stop feeling like a struggler. This is why, in Jewish culture, social circles aren't random. They're curated. People bond over growth, ideas, projects. They actively support one another's businesses and ambitions. It's not just friendship, it's community infrastructure. In most societies today, everyone's an island. Neighbors don't support local businesses. Friends compete instead of collaborate. And then we wonder why nothing moves forward. But when you build trust-based networks, momentum becomes collective and powerful. This goes back to one of the earliest jars, charity. Not as a feel-good gesture, but as a strategic one. The more value you create in your network, the more that network supports you when you take action. Giving builds bridges, and business travels fast across bridges. But none of this works if your mindset is still focused on survival. You have to shift from thinking, how do I get by, to how do I grow smart? And that shift doesn't happen in one day. It happens through structure, habits, and small wins repeated consistently. Wealth isn't found, it's built. So ask yourself, do I track where my money goes? Do I invest in what grows me or what distracts me? Do I treat money like a tool or like a burden? Because until those answers change, nothing else will. It's never too late to rewrite your financial story. Whether you're 18 or 58, there's always time to build the habits that shift your path. These principles aren't exclusive, they're universal. The only thing required is action. You can choose to ignore these lessons and keep living on autopilot. Or you can take full control, starting today. Not with some huge transformation, but with a single decision, to be intentional. Because the real wealth isn't just in money, It's in how you manage what flows through your life.